you know, I'm just gonna be real. What are you bringing for me? Why bothering? Listen, man. I meant to tell other niggas in um well, I meant to tell other niggas in Shaolin this and other places and other well, Shaolin used to be Shaolin Temple. Those days are a little old, so I don't think you'll find other individuals like the way individuals used to be back in the days. Because things that happened, I ended up leaving Shaolin Temple before because too too many too many bows, too many bows for me. I was watching a movie one day, and the individual was letting raps go and stuff. My life never had the shakes, so I don't know where that came from. And stuff. But I say this, I don't know, man. I'm a man. This is the year. This is the year of. This is the year of the elements. This is the year of acknowledgement. This is the year of one should know the reason for endurance of oneself. This is what I can say. But I'm just gonna say, I never tell a nigga. Back in the days, I just told niggas in Charlotte, like, yo, if you ever do something for somebody a certain way, man, make sure they don't go to the hospital too much, man. I don't got time for another individual to say, when you come in and get something, you can find all the situations that you need. It's just like I never been fucked up. I never had a fucked up mentality that would make an individual look like an individual was fucked up. Think about really, really, really think about what I'm saying. I never had a mentality to make niggas think that I was fucked up, and I never been fucked up. So if a person's looking for something at a time, I never let them see a situation that would make them think there was something more real than the situation at the time a certain type of way. It's just like going to the hospital and stuff. One time I was somewhere viewing something and then I seen an individual at a time and the way I acknowledged the individual caused a certain type of situation in my physical reality. And then I said, what made a person do something like that to an individual of the reason of one's consciousness? I gave individuals reasons of an individual could breathe in life. There's no reason to turn around and look at me like, I'm sorry I shouldn't let an individual even ever know the reason of the existence of life. I'm sorry. Don't ever make me feel like that. That's one for real. I'm so serious when I say this. And I tell individuals in Charlotte, listen, man, I don't have to do something for somebody to do an insurance because another person just want to see what what one. You ever had somebody that knows them so precisely, and then when they're looking at another individual situation, they see something different that's not like theirs, and if they see something different, that means the situation's already different from you. What the fuck you thought you were doing? It's just like there's no reason. It's just like if my wife and me sat down on a throne at a time, and then say my wife, somebody wanted to play chess with my children, and then I look at my wife like I don't play games. Why is the child playing games for? I don't even send my children outside to go lose money in the arcade. My children can't even lose money when it even comes to the arcade. Because I don't have time to go looking for individuals a certain type of way. And I'm not gonna send my wife a certain place because my wife, she has to be able to shut down the whole situation if she wants. Then on top of it, and she has to make sure she at a point she's okay while she shuts down all the situations that she wants. And then on top of it, I don't have time for my children to make me look like a criminal because they just wanted to get rid of me and my wife doesn't have time to ever think about why my child would do something stupid like that or what caused that. Because she wouldn't, if she turned around and I wasn't there, there's no reason for her existence anymore because what she really knows from the beginning is there, so nobody would ever really care for her. Because only a man that really knows my wife and made my wife can only care for her, and that will only be me. So, what is the situation with another individual? So it's just like I don't have time of stupidity. It's just like I look at my wife at the time and say, if the children are playing games and you never did nothing wrong to your habitation, were you missing me one night? Did you get out of character with yourself one night? Or is it your emotionals that you showed a person? Say my wife is so militant that she don't do certain things. She never humbled herself when it came to physical reality. That she tell you to move is move. You don't move. Another person's supposed to know without questioning, even in one social economics, this is the region of majesty. If something wrong happens to the majesty, I don't give a fuck who you are. At the end of the night, situation so real, you get up and you go bust that fucking person's head that disrespected the reason of your habitation, of your consciousness. Because you ain't gotta wait for that person to get out of hand before they just kick them down your door and then dishonoring the reason of your own habitation, of your existence, of your comfort. You get rid of that person instantly before it gets too much of an example in the social economic system. I'm a real magistrate. I'm a real parent, so I know what I'm speaking about. So it's like I can go to any planet. It's just letting you know what's going on with my kids. If another nigga is trying to take this regimen and you go in other places and thinking that you're telling people other things, yo, my nigga, you got something else happening at the time because yo, I'm gonna be real with you. There's no reason you say something like that. Like another person is just gonna look at you like, what type of funny pill did they swallow at a time? Because the way certain people yo listen to everything I already said. Listen to me. If my wife's children want to go doctor in another situation, what were you touching before you came in the house? And why did you touch it? Take off your shoes before you come in the house and wash your feet before you come in the house. I shouldn't have to ask you where the water holes and certain things is. Because it's supposed to already be right there before an individual comes in the house a certain type of way. If a person says you come inside the house, you wash your feet a certain type of way, what is going on when you wash your feet or certain other things happen a certain type of way that makes an individual natural. Listen, I'm already perfect, so the way I'm gonna move is different from another individual. But I'm not gonna have an excuse either because I don't like touching things already a certain type of way and the person just wants to see somebody do something because they have an excuse that already been sitting down for how long waiting for whatever situation. I'm a man of regardless. So, I'm gonna just tell an individual like this, man. Be careful of other individuals' intentions outside of the time because another individual just wants to know what's going on with another person a certain type of way or what's different. I never been too much into people's secrecy just to be over there doing the wrong things. It's just like, what's reminding me of certain things right now? What happened in Japan and what happened in China with the flood and individuals that was in China that wanted to know what was going on in Japan land, so they flooded the land so the soil was able to seep over there. So when they were digging up their soil, it made it seem like they didn't even invade Japan, and when they invaded Japan, they did the wrong thing because the individuals in the Chicon bus. You had a chick that was riding the bus, and you took the wrong chick. and another person don't want to be. They don't want people to manipulate the precise things that happen a certain type of way because they're coming up with excuses. Say this caused this caused that, because another person is thinking about, damn, I ain't get to see that, and then all type of things, and another person is having the time of their life, and then they're coming up with all type of excuses. It's just like having a child on the throne, and then he tells you he's supposed to be the ruler at the time, and then when I come up and I wake up, I'm the one that it's like I could just take the crown off his head and put it on my head because I'm the real ruler. But another person's looking at it because they're looking at it. If I get involved in it, then that person was wrong because they already. They're probably another person who's gonna say the excuses. You know, that person was supposed to be doing something so and so. They don't want to feel like this. I don't want to hear nothing like that because once I'm up, I'm up. And if I want my wife around, my wife's supposed to be around now. If a person's already acting ignorant, if you have two people, if I have a son in one region that's an honor, and I have another son in another region that's an honor, then I wake up my wife and then I'm up. If individuals keep on playing this back and forth game, if if somebody touches my wife's sacredcy, listen, my wife is from a place in different points that another person will come around here and they won't even say nothing. They just gonna bust everybody head a certain type of way because if you touch more than what you was already, my other wife is already looking at her situation like, you ever had a celestial empress that comes and manifests in the physical reality? She starts wanting to fuck other niggas. And then my wife is looking at her like she's already getting finger popped to other niggas. My wife doesn't let other niggas touch her because she's a real empress is a real empress. There's no reason to dishonor pride. A person has to remain blameless. There ain't no time to say, oh, this is family, this family, that. Family gonna feed you coffee and then you're gonna wonder why you're being poisoned and stuff, or you're gonna get into zodiac signs, so you're gonna be a little animal trapped, and then you trapped in certain positions all your life, and then until you in the casino scene and they raping you, kicking you, punching you, doing whatever they want to do to you, then you in a real dungeon and then you wonder why niggas is just fucking goggling balls in your mouth and just well, it's wonderful when it's your real husband doing it and then you have the real emotions of the ecstasy because I'm your soulmate. There's a discomfort with another niggas doing it, and then on top of it, you doing pimples on your face and all types of situations for nothing. And then you'll know that for a fact because another nigga will try to get a nigga sick, or he'll try to make the reason of your soulmate uncomfortable. That'll lead up to your uncomfortability, and then you'll see that a tormented or diseased situation wasn't really about a certain type of situation, and they just following their regimen because the energy force they couldn't compel against them because they wasn't the individual that lied. So the energy is already gonna be mad at them and gonna be punishing their physical. And if the energy knows that they did so much that when they were wrong, the energy is not gonna let that person go because it already knows the wrong that individual did. So it wants them to everybody acknowledge the wrong that they did, so it could punish a certain individual's physical so one could even have a comfortability and habitation while it regulates all of the situations in the physical reality. But I'm not going to tell you the part of the acknowledgement of science. It's just like what I told you with consecration. If a person is selling tar, they're going after individuals in concrete. They're cutting the finances. So that's a person that is of another type of science that asks too much questions to individuals that already show you don't dishonor the reasons of foundation and don't ever make a person come out of character. Once that starts happening, there's a other intents at a time that's causing that type of reality. And another person says, yo, there's boundaries to certain places. There's forms of ways to show there's boundaries in certain places. It's just like when I used to dress my kids, I used to be like, you don't wear this, you don't wear this, and if you wear something a certain type of way. You don't wear a certain type of situation a certain type of way because at a point in time, if another individual comes around, they have to be acknowledged for what's really going on. And if a person's causing too much confusion in one's social economics, then there's just a habitation. I don't really need to see the reason of a bow and the reason my wife should have a pimple or me and my wife should argue at the time because I educated my wife. You getting too close to my wife's education. And if that's happening, that means my wife never got stabbed. My wife's guts was never dragged in the floor. who been in my wife's panty drawer or who went in my wife's closet. You know, and then on top of it, it's just like what I realized one day while watching a movie. I said my sons were sleeping and comfortable. They never they never ever been hurt. Who who dares break forms of consecration and then next thing you know my sons wake up and then they're wondering why people are going after insurance all day when when they just when they're just trying to cruise and just or not even cruise when they're just trying to flow through a situation without any problem. And then what's complicating your situation because their education is higher than others, and what is another individual looking for in a certain time? And then my children's looking at the situation like, I don't know if another person ever realized certain other things. You know, another person don't get too comfortable with reality because at the end of the day, secrecy, secrecy, just like it's just like what America did to individuals and they went after individuals of the Shadow Clan and Ninja Assassin. I watched another movie where individuals was a spectacle on a mountain peak at a time, on a stage at a time, and not realizing they were a part of an individual. You know, I never been a lollipop nigga. I never been an apple stick nigga. You know, I may have made the apple stick. I may have been the reason why they could even sell an apple stick. But I never gave no type of situations like that to my child because my child doesn't really need to know what's going on at a time or why a situation even at a time and stuff. If something was gonna happen and I'm showing my child because say if I have to go somewhere and my child has to realize certain things, my child gotta know his natural reasons of his education and where my child's going. Another person wonders what's causing a situation a certain type of way is because what individuals are already doing to my child a certain type of way, why he could even have such a delicacy or a social economical quality from us acknowledging it. Now, a person ain't gonna tell another person what's going on when a person has to handle certain other things. It's just like when I was in Cornell psychiatric facility, what I seen being done to my son, but I already handled the situation. But seeing that another individual wanted to make sure about a situation because of my placement, because they wanted to checkmate an individual, and I don't play games, so I should have never been in that type of situation because what they tried to do was more than themselves, and they didn't even realize it still to this day because now you have, it's just like what I told you with the energy. It's like a force that already knows what's going on, and it just wants a person to come outside and play, and I don't play because I'm serious, because when I'm doing something, I don't want to feel discomfort in the physical reality when I do anything what I want to do in life because the reality is really me and I'm the only one that could even command or control any situation. So I don't want to hear another person trying to do some other funny type of situation. And then if they're trying to make me call out a celestial empress that makes her get out of hand, I never hurt myself and I never crippled my wife. And no other chick ever have a reason to go open her legs for another nigga that will cause her devastation or excuse to what's really going on with her anatomy. It's just like a chick. Imagine a chick being stuck in ice all day. All day she's in ice doing habitation meditation and she of white anatomy. That pussy's gonna come out looking like a cherry red. And then she's looking, why my pussy's cherry red? Like something's wrong with my pussy. Your pussy hasn't defrosted yet because you're a celestial empress. So your pussy is not going to turn pink and warm until the emperor decides to say, oh, here's a little sun, lady. Or here's a little value, or just warm up a little bit, baby. Because if another nigga goes to stick his finger inside that red pussy, or you stick a dildo in that red pussy, that pussy going to stay forever. And then you're gonna be forever fucked up because then you're gonna open your legs and they go, what is this? I don't eat raw steak. Get the fuck out of here. I don't know where you bathed. I don't know what touched you. I don't know what cloth you put on. I don't have to want to go looking for the situations that'll make me feel a certain type of way. I'm not doing the Orion thing no more. It's Orion now. It's yo. Listen, it's either pass it along or let it already be gone. I don't care. You know what I'm saying? It's just how real it is. So it's like, I'm not doing none of that. So, all that type of situations and other type of funny situations, I'm not with that type of situation. I don't annoy a person's habitation. You ever go to a martial or a temple and then individual, it's wonderful to hear something a certain type of way. But when a person says, yeah, listen, Shema or Sila, another person just don't want to hear nothing. A person just, I just want to, I don't want to hear, I don't want to hear nothing because anything else besides anything else, because I'm already regarded. So anything else besides anything else, I don't want to hear nothing a certain type of way. Because anything else I'm hearing, it's a not in voice. I don't have time for wild emotion. Other things are happening. Another person has to think about their comfort of the reason of things that's being done and then acknowledgement even at a time, because if I'm hearing something, it can't be at a time where I already know what's going on. It has to be at a time where what the fuck you talking about? What am I hearing that for? So another individual is doing something they're not supposed to be doing, because if I'm hearing something, that means something else is going on. So whereas it's like a person that's supposed to be somewhere that ain't the place where they're supposed to be at the time. So what caused that type of situation for an individual to even acknowledge something like that? So I don't want to have to play. I'm not gonna show people a certain type of regimen. Nobody's gonna be better than my wife, money. You don't come to me asking me about certain habitation unless you my child that literally I just put balls deep for you and I don't want to hear nothing. If anything else, you ain't better than my wife, you shouldn't be asking me certain things. Where's your fucking brother? Same thing with my son getting his car at the time. The nigga used to be on some same type of situation, and I used to have to be somewhere else. Another person says, "What you over here every day? You twinkling and all type. What the fuck you worried about? What the fuck am I doing all day? Don't worry about what's going on with me or where I have to be all day. It's bad enough that I'm looking at situations already more than you at a time. This is the reason why you can't even go outside. You know something? I don't want to complain early morning. If I'm in pussy, I'm gonna be okay in pussy. I'm not gonna get in pussy to complain. You know, uh, it's so real. My pussy wants to get out of bed and make me breakfast because the type of dick sucking nourishment that it needs for itself for the morning. Another nigga can It's like you can't do that for the celestial empress. It's like giving her coffee. It's like making a gobble coffee and putting like a fucking it's like putting a gas tube down her throat and giving her coffee all day. It's like it doesn't make no sense. It's like killing her for nothing. So what is she scared of my empress? It's like what are you killing your body for? If you wanted to save your life, you don't make your crown empress more mad in your situation. You correct your situation. You don't never do wrong in your situation because if she gotta pass over on you a certain type of way for a comfortability, she'll do it. If it's already a certain type of way, and looking at and you have people looking at situations a certain type of way, yo, my wife is more immaculate than another person thinks. If a person's looking at my wife and you start asking the wrong intentions about her habitation a certain type of way, well, my nigga, I don't have time for other individuals wanting to see why my wife is nice. I'm not gonna go out there putting hands on niggas, my nigga. I'm not. You're not gonna risk my wife's conscience in the year of the reflection, man, and then where I'm at. Are you fucking stupid? Yo, my nigga. Yo, man, loved one, man.